Hello, I'm Kurt Rosen of the Manx ICT Association, and in this animation I'm exploring the potential to use information and communication technologies to enable the citizen and to make government much more efficient. Just before Christmas 2014, the Chief Minister spoke in Tynwald about developing a new digital strategy to streamline government, make it more efficient and also provide great online services for the public by using digital and communication technology. Mr. Bell described how the iPads and smartphones, which he could see all around Tynwald as he spoke, are a sign of the technological revolution which is changing all of our lives. To its credit, the Isle of Man government has been very forward-thinking and online for 20 years. For instance, since 2007, £1 billion in payment transactions have been made online through Isle of Man government. Many of you have used online tax returns or paid for your car tax online or ordered your holiday cash online at the post office. So, you may think that the government is already digital, and it is using IT to become more efficient. Indeed, in worldwide comparisons, we do score highly in many areas, but in a changing world we cannot be complacent, and around us many governments are placing digital strategies centre stage in an attempt to react to the challenges that they face. As we look at a revised version of our own digital strategy, our strategic aim should be much deeper than simply looking at serving information or transactional services. True government digital enablement is not really about putting forms online or passively delivering information. It is about looking at processes from the point of view of the user and thinking what you are trying to achieve, and redesigning these processes backwards from that, rather than just designing processes to suit bureaucracy. So, having the needs, requirements and preferences of the citizen as a driver, and importantly placing them firmly in control of their service and their information. Whilst it may be perceived that this is all about pushing everything online and making things self-service, if done correctly this couldn't be further from the truth. For instance, in the UK they have made great strides in putting together gov.uk with a specific inclusion policy called Digital by Default. The goal is the creation of digital services that are so straightforward and convenient that all who can use them will choose to do so. Yet many online services which have been earmarked for improvement are still just online versions of the paper systems that went before them. I have seen this described as putting lipstick on a pig. What we need to do is move towards redesigned services which are easier to use, thanks to IT. You have to look at what each citizen is trying to achieve in their interactions with government and make it efficient and easy to do so. This isn't easy or quick and requires new skills, challenges and also changes to years of built-up processes, legislation and regulation. Also importantly, you should never totally remove channels of communication that allow interaction with real people and never force people to do things in a particular way. If you can make it easy and convenient to use services online, then people will choose to do so. Use the digital route. That's what's happening in almost every other walk of life. But there are two concerns that need to be addressed. First, the perception that automation is about reducing headcount. This may happen as a side effect, but the money the governments are using belongs to us all, so government has an obligation to try and use that as efficiently as possible. When government is looked at as a whole, efficiency could also be achieved by making back office administration much more efficient and using savings represented here to allocate resources to frontline services which directly affect the public. The second concern is a fear of lack of privacy of information within the public sector, as data may be shared and you don't know why or when, the so-called Big Brother syndrome. However, a well-constructed digital strategy should help to safeguard privacy. If we use a citizen-centric approach, then you can take it as read that all data held by government about you is yours. So the government are simply temporary custodians. Therefore, you should have the ability to make a choice about what data is visible to whom in government. Also, very importantly, you should have the ability to see the audit trail of who has looked at your data and why. This also extends to being able to remove your permission, like you could with any online retailer. To give an example of how this could work, if you currently go to A&E, they do not generally have access to your GP records, and the same is true the other way around. If you had a card that you could pop into a reader when you're in one of these places, and like a cash machine enter a PIN, this would authorise access to your records on the spot. What is significant about this is you have chosen to do it, but equally you could choose not to. There is no data as such on the card that you have, and so no real risk if it's lost. Like a bank or credit card, it is simply a key to information that is held elsewhere, and needs to be coupled with something only you know to provide access, e.g. a PIN, and if misplaced could be revoked instantly. Any access to your records will be logged in an audit trail that you can go and view at any time in the future. This type of system has already been successfully deployed in Germany and other countries worldwide. On the wider issue of letting one part of government talk to another, consider how many times you tell government where you live, and often have to prove it, when they already know this. Imagine how much easier it would be to simply tell the government, "You already know this, and I authorise you to go and get that information from where it is held to fill it in for me." But again, the key to this is that the citizen, the owner of the data, chooses to allow this. The government also holds lots of data about itself, and the movement towards open government, which we have actually signed up to, should mean that government data should be readily and easily available, from voting patterns to MHKs, right the way through to online, constantly updated financial information. Defining a new government digital strategy is a good thing if it is done intelligently and with the citizen or customer firmly in mind. We need to be more efficient in the way that we do things, and should have the advantage of taking items of best practice from around the world, but implementing them better and faster because we aren't as encumbered by having to do things on an immense scale. The journey to construct our government's digital strategy is only just the beginning. But from the Manx ICT Association's, MICTA's perspective, we are already seeing an openness to engage, to challenge the status quo, and to stretch the thinking on what the art of the possible could be.